we've reached a point in our history where it's really ugly yet again. So, and I don't mean ours as in America, but also America, but also the world history. So, right now what's happening in Rafah and in Gaza in general is disgusting and deplorable. You have to be either brainwashed or morally bankrupt to be okay with this. I'm so disenchanted from our politicians that are okay with this genocide, which is what's happening. It's an ethnic cleansing. They are taking the people they don't want on the land, the native population. They are the native population. They have been there for a while. Prior to 1948. They've been there for a while. And coming back with the help of the United States and the help of Britain, of course, because, Britain, being the colonizers they are, they decided to own Palestine for a while and decided, oh, you know what? We can give you part of this land. It's not mine. It's not ours, but we'll give it to you and then you can just take it. And ever since then, we have the Nakba, several wars since then, where people who live in Israel don't even necessarily know what the Nakba is. Because they're taught something very different. They're taught a lie that's palatable. It's kind of like how we like to whitewash history in America about slavery. And how we don't want to really talk about it anymore because, they talk about the Holocaust a lot because, of course, I'd expect that. I would expect that from that society to talk about the Holocaust because that was tragic and it was awful. And probably the worst humanitarian genocide we've had in, modern-ish times. You don't have to have something as bad as the Holocaust for it to be completely fucking awful. And that's exactly what's happening right now. This is completely and utterly awful. It's all, I can't even imagine what it's like to be there. I can't even imagine. Growing up as a white woman in America, I have no way to really wrap my head around that. Although I have known fear, so I can only extrapolate from my own experiences how awful that would be. But it's awful to also watch. This is traumatizing the entire world that's watching. And then, of course, it's not about me. But I hate whenever we talk about Gaza, somebody will be in that comment saying, oh, but what about October 7th? Well, October 7th was awful. Of course it was. Not as awful as the IDF is saying, because they're lying about a bunch of things about that, and there's been reputable reporting about that. I encourage you to seek out the truth, because it's not what the IDF is saying. I don't believe anything they say, as far as I can throw them. But I also don't believe anything that Hamas says, as far as I can throw them. And it's awful. But you know what's worse than October 7th? What's happening right now? This is 30 times worse than that. It's more than that. What Hamas did on October 7th was terrible. But what Israel is doing in Gaza is unfathomable. It's disgusting. Destroying all the buildings. Making aid hard for pregnant women to get aid, and either their babies are dying or they're dying or both. And they're like, score. They're killing children. They made a baby's head explode from a bomb. Do you have a baby? Imagine that baby's head exploding from a bomb. I'm sorry to be so graphic, but I think we need to start talking about what's really going on. Children are trapped under the rubble. There's a little girl, I forget her name, but she's 13. She was trapped under the rubble with her parents and I don't know when this happened, but sometime in the recent past, her mom, her dad, and her siblings and her grandparents all trapped together. They're all alive. And she was like, take everyone first. Take me last. I'm fine. Take them first. For a 13-year-old to have to like think about that is gross. But what's even worse is that that situation is happening at all. I mean, you see what's on, social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. It's all over the place. And if you're sitting there cheering it on, there's something wrong with you. Something immensely wrong. Either you've been brainwashed, and if you have been brainwashed, do you want to be brainwashed? Because that's awful. It's better to know the truth, no matter how awful it truly is, than to be in the dark. Truly. And I know you may be scared and maybe, scared of what you're going to find out, disgusted by people that you once loved and trusted. That's life. It sucks. But be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Because that's exactly what's happening here. Anyone who is cheering on the slaughter of innocent people, no one was cheering Hamas on. I mean, and don't talk about the protests, because there's always going to be some crazies that come out in any group. Anytime there's a protest, there's always some crazy people that are come out. I don't know if they're crazy or just being antagonistic. But you have that no matter what the group is for. So do not take the minority, like the extreme minority that was going on, and say, oh, it's all anti-Semitic. It's not. Being critical of the Israeli government is not anti-Semitism. I refuse to accept that, because it's not. It is not anti-Semitism. To say what's happening in Gaza is wrong. And really, I hate that Netanyahu loves to use anti-Semitism as a fucking weapon, which makes actual anti-Semitism less, I can't even think of the word, but it lessens it. It makes actual anti-Semitism not be taken as serious as it should be. Yes, is there anti-Semitism? Absolutely. Is it the worst thing in the fucking world? No. You know what the worst thing in the fucking world is? Indiscriminate killing. That, to me, is the worst thing in the world you can do as a human being to another human being. Just indiscriminately killing people. And the Israeli government and the Israeli army has proven to be a very immoral army. They have over and over and over again. It's there. It's all there. You just have to want to see it. And anyone that says it's not happening, that says this is for the greater good, because someone in my TikTok comments just said that, which is disgusting. It's not for the greater good. It's never going to be for the greater good. I don't even agree with the death penalty, let alone slaughtering millions of people because you just want to take their land. Because it is their land. Palestinians have the right to be there. And Israel people from Israel, do not have the right to kill them, murder them, take everything away from them. They do not have that right. I hope the International Criminal Court does come for you, Netanyahu. They come for you and all the people that are supporting you right now in your cabinet. Every single one of you. And I'll be okay if they take American politicians with them. Because you know what? War crimes are war crimes. And honestly, I think Biden should be tried for war crimes as well, because he is funding it. You can't fund something and be like, we didn't know what was happening. Yeah, you did. You gave this man $20 billion. Oh, that could have helped the American people. Because we're not first. We're second, maybe third, fourth, fifth. I don't know. Our government does not invest into us at all. And honestly, if they did, we'd all be better off because of it. All of us. Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, all of us. The Green Party, all the parties. Everyone who affiliates with somebody or doesn't. Who's religious or not. Who's black or white or somewhere in between. Everyone would benefit from that. Every fucking person. Isn't that what we should want? Is something for us and not to blow up children in a foreign country. And think about the fact that we have a president that's trying to ban our freedom of speech about a foreign government. Let that sink in for a minute. It's truly gross. It's truly bad. This is truly disgusting. How are we going to come back from this? Like Americans, I don't know how they're going to come back from this. Israel, if they're going to have a real hard time coming back from this. They're already starting to become a pariah in the world stage. You know, countries are divesting from Israel, like Colombia. Not the university, the country Colombia. But some schools are at least thinking about it. And if you're head of some kind of school or know somebody that's the head of a school, impress upon them how important that is to divest from Israel. I think as voters, we need to not support any politicians who take AIPAC money. None of them. Do not support any one of them in the future. Because why? Because AIPAC can just bribe. They're bribing the politicians. They have an active campaign against anyone who has spoken out against them. Like, that's not democracy. That is not democracy. We do not have a democracy. At least not a functioning one. Our country is... We're going down in flames. We got evangelicals trying to take away abortion rights, trying to make LGBTQ people the devil, which is not true. I don't believe in the devil anyway, but they're trying to make them more of a pariah than they've already made them out to be. Especially transgender people. Just let them be. Just let them have rights. Stop fucking with them. They don't deserve it. I mean, no one deserves it. No one deserves to be shafted like that. No one deserves, not even the Republicans, not even Republicans I vehemently disagree with, deserve that kind of treatment. I would never, like in terms of abortion, abortions aren't only for people who don't want to have children. Abortions are more often used for women who do want their baby, but there's something wrong. And I'm atheist, so I don't believe in God in any form, in any way, shape, or form at all. So I really hate this thing, oh, God doesn't make mistakes. Well, obviously, if there was a God, they made a mistake with you. I don't believe in God. But if I did, you'd be the mistake, putting women in harm's way. I would never wish what I've been through 24 years ago with an ectopic pregnancy on a Republican woman that voted against abortion. I would never wish that upon her. It was awful. I would never want a Republican woman in a red state. I mean, obviously no women, but I'm making the point to say Republican because I'm a progressive. I don't hate Republican people. But I hate that they vote against themselves so often. But they're also brainwashed by their politicians into believing that what they want isn't right and what the politician wants is what's right for them. And the thing is, they're not serving your interests. They're not serving anyone but their own and their donors. That's it. Wake up. People who take big PAC money, no matter the party, are corrupt by nature. If you are going to take PAC money from any PAC, big PAC, any business, any lobbyist group, you are owned by them. You serve them and them alone. You do not serve the people. So I encourage Republicans and Democrats and progressives in any party to run for the people. Run for them. Take small donations, to small dollar donations. Look at progressives. They have proven you can do it. You know why? Because they ran on popular messaging. They ran on things that people actually fucking want. Do you know the majority of America, regular people, want access to abortion? Even amongst Republicans. So by not allowing it, you're not allowing your own party to have autonomy over their bodies. Because it's not just hurting us, progressives or Democrats. It's hurting everyone, including your wife, your sister, your mother. Think about that. I've read stories of Republican men who watch their wives go through horrific pregnancies that were pro-life. I say that in some very serious air quotes because they're not pro-life. They're pro-forced birth. Because pro-life would be you want life to be better for people, not you want life to be worse for the incubators, otherwise known as people who can have babies. So we really need better politicians in every facet that wants to run on popular ideas. Medicare for all is another popular idea that majority of the people, regardless of party, want. We have the money. We've proven we have the money. We have the money. So don't ask me where we're going to get that money, because have you not been paying attention to how much money we've been shelling to Ukraine? And I agree with giving Ukraine money, but to what end? And giving money to the Israel war machine who are slaughtering innocent people, because let's rope back to that. 20 billion could have done a lot for Americans. We are suffering from inflation, for rent being outrageously out of control. I'm so glad I own my house. I am privileged to have a house that I own, that I pay $1,500 a month for my mortgage. If I bought my same home today, it would be like $3,500 a month my mortgage would be. How insane is that? I would have to pay $2,000 more a month because it's worth a lot more now. And not due to inflation, because it was worth a lot more when the housing market was overinflating everything. And it's gone back down. It's still a pretty good amount. But that's a lot. I couldn't afford to live in my own house if I had to pay $3,500 a month in mortgage. That's insane. It's insane. I understand why people that are young, maybe just, in their 30s, mid-30s, can't even afford to have a house, to have a baby. Like, really? They have student loans. A lot of those student loans did not actually get forgiven. Some did, and I'm glad those people got forgiveness because they deserve it. Especially since there's a lot of people that have been paying on their loans for almost 20 years and they still owe more than they did originally. That's interest. That's compounding interest in the wrong direction. It's disgusting. It's disgusting that we don't have childcare help. Childcare is expensive. I know single mothers who struggled when their children were young enough that they needed to put them in daycare so they could go to work. They didn't want to live on welfare because welfare doesn't pay anything anyway. But they didn't want to live on that. No one can really live on that. You know that, right? Like, it's so little. The amount you're given is like barely, not even enough to really survive in an entire month. But having no maternity leave, no paid maternity leave in this country, not really. Like, I'm so glad my sister-in-law lives in England. She had a baby. And she, her and her partner, and she is able to take a year off work. Well, the first 6 months I think was paid fully, and then the second 6 months is paid at half the rate, but she's still getting paid, right? And the government does support that. The government is what supports that. They also have free health care. Costs her nothing to have her baby. Nothing at all. And I'm glad of that. Here would have been a very different story. And I'm glad she's gotten that time to be with my niece, who is amazing. So, if we truly cared about children in this country, we would have laws like my sister-in-law does in England that allows her to be home with her baby with pay. Now, she does have to go back to work. She can't just quit. She'd owe the money, right? So she has to go back to work at least part-time for a few years. And then she's allowed to quit if she wants to. But she likes what she does. She's good at what she does. So I think she's going to go back part-time. I don't know. But, that's up to her. And, we'll support her either way, obviously. But it's seeing what she got versus what I know people get here. It's very much night and day. So we need some big changes. Oh yeah. And how about better pay for people? That's a crock of shit that people cannot afford to pay their people $3 more an hour. If you can't afford to pay people $3 more an hour, if you're paying people $12 an hour or whatever, or livable wage, then you have a bad business model. Then you need to understand where your money is going. And if you have to rely on paying people an unlivable wage to make people work 40 hours a week and pay them not nearly enough to survive, that people have to have 3 jobs to survive, not to have a vacation, to be able to afford their mortgage or their rent, to be able to afford food, their cell phone. Really? I mean, I hate it when people are like, they don't need a cell phone. Yes, they do. You kind of need one. In this day and age, you really need one. Having just a landline isn't good enough anymore. It really isn't. Not in this day and age. We need to get it together as a country. And I don't know what it's gonna be or how that's gonna work out, but we need to figure something out. Because the rate we're going, America is going to crash and burn. We are going to lose democracy. We kind of already have. But it's corporatocracy. Corporations own everything. We need to repeal things like what is it called? Something United. We need to repeal that. That lets corporations be Citizens United. We need to repeal Citizens United. We need that to go away. We need corporations to not be people, because they're fucking not. They're not people. They're just doing legal bribery. And we need to get legal bribery out of our politics. Because we're one of the only countries that allows that, which is kind of gross. We're so behind on so many issues and so many things. We need to really figure our shit out. All right, well, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hearing me. Put your comments down below and hit subscribe if you're new.